Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to checking out the YouTube version of Cinematic Autopsy. We've noticed a lot of you are watching and have not subscribed.
Yes.
So,
Please
it would,
subscribe.
yeah, before we begin, it would be wonderful if you guys could click on that little link right there, right, see where I'm pointing right there, and you'll notice that if you scroll down, you'll see subscribe. So subscribe to us, CL Squared Productions. You'll be able to see our videos, stuff.
We have lots of cool
our
content for you
trailers.
guys. You'll know everything
Yeah.
that we're up to in the
Exactly.
film world, whether we're talking about it or doing it.
Exactly. So let's give you 5 seconds to subscribe. All right, everyone. We'll see you guys soon.
Hey everyone, how's it all going? I don't know why Chelsea has the giggles, but it's us.
I've been body snatched.
Yes, here. Well, I'm gonna never mind. There's a very rude joke I could make about the second half of that, but I shan't.
I have to know what it is later. Hi everyone. We're here.
Yeah, we're watching old timey movies today with the Al Jolson singing, and it's not that old timey, but it's weird for us. Yeah, we're watching a black and white film from the 1950s.
Yes. See, I love the shit. Monkey, get out of the plant, please.
Invasion of the Defilers of Tombs.
Yes, apparently.
That is the French title.
Really?
Yes, that was, for whatever reason, that's what it got released under in France.
That don't make no sense.
L'invasion des profondeurs des sepultures, which is, I guess, apparently someone mistranslated it. And that was the title. They didn't even know what that meant. The American portion didn't know what that meant until it had already been released, and it was too late to change the title.
Oh, shitball.
So, which is a completely different movie, if that's what it was called.
I'm like, they don't actually defile tombs in this.
No, they don't. They don't. But yeah, that's Lara Croft. Yeah, so we are reviewing the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers starring Kevin McCarthy. Which I have never seen before. And Chelsea said she's never seen any of these before, so
I haven't. But I love this style of movie. I mean, generally not the 50s. Like, I'm more like a Kaufman and Ferber, like 30s, early 40s. But they did a lot of this. Like, the opening reminds me very much of the Wizard of Oz opening, but it's terrifying.
Interesting, by the way. I was going to go on about it later, but I'll just say, when I saw the movie, my first thing at the end was, that's a bullshit, like Hays Code bullshit ending. Because I'm like, okay, there's the perfect place it's supposed to end. And then there's a happy epilogue at the end.
I wonder if there was like a different version. Like,
no, I looked it up. That 100% was added on by the studio.
Of course it was.
It was added on by the studio, and the director hated it. The film was nearly ruined by those in charge at Allied Artists, who added a preface and an ending that I don't like. Both him and the director and producer, Walter Wagner, were both against that ending, but they couldn't do anything about it because the studios had even more power back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they owned these actors, like they owned them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, but the director and producer were 100% against the ending that's actually in this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, they didn't want that, and they didn't want the little preface that like bookends the things.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that at the end.
Yeah, but they were forced by the studio to make that. Later on, there is a version of the film that cuts out the beginning and the
Yeah, you don't need it. It's as if they just wanted it to reach an hour and 20 minutes.
Well, it's not only that, it also changes the whole premise of the film and makes it a very, it goes from, because you realize not many movies back then, unless they were film noir, had unhappy endings.
It's true.
And that was exactly, the studio legitimately, like, well, not legit, like, actually just said that they thought that it was too pessimistic an ending.
Oh, well, yeah, we can get away with that shit definitely more nowadays than we could back then, for sure.
Yeah, that was the funny thing is I remember when I was writing Bishop's Cove, without spoiling anything, there was an ending in there that I remember writing and saying to myself, if this was a big studio film, there's another ending that would be put on after this.
Oh yeah, 100%.
To negate that and make it a, one that's more palatable for the kids at home.
I mean, but the subject matter in between, it's still, there's no way. There's no way.
What's also funny is that there's someone reading a meter in this film. Just to, like, I think he has one line. It's Sam Peckinpah before he was a director.
That's cool. Random.
Yeah, he plays a meter reader named Charlie. And he just was given like a cameo in this because he was dialogue coach to a couple people that the director knew.
Oh, I love that.
And it's before he directed any of his own films. So at the time he was just, we'll give our friend Sam a cameo in this.
Fucking wild. I love how that shit works.
Yeah. And also, since we're talking about titles, the original title was The Body Snatchers, but they changed it to avoid confusion with a 1945 Val Lewton movie called The Body Snatcher. And the producer wasn't able to come up with a title and accepted the studio's choice, which was Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Wow.
The other suggestions that were made that the director disagreed with every one of them was They Come from Another World, Better Off Dead, and Sleep No More, Evil in the Night, and World in Danger, which the director said all of those are awful, which they are.
Yeah, I know, that's terrible.
Yeah, so the studio finally settled on Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I mean, I fucking love Sleep No More, but you don't reference Shakespeare at all in this fucking thing. So why no? Like, that would make me angry. Like, I'd watch it with like wanting to see hints of Macbeth, and then be like, the fuck? What do aliens have to do with Macbeth? They don't.
They do quote Shakespeare for like 2 lines, though.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it made me angry.
I
don't know. I just finished this movie like 5 seconds before we got on this podcast.
And apparently, they tested this film for general audiences who didn't like it, and so the studio removed pretty much all of this movie's humor.
Huh.
Yeah, which the producer was very against, but once again, it was the studios in the 1950s. You can like do literally nothing.
Like, this is not your movie.
Yeah,
this is our movie.
Yeah, and in fact, the producer was also against the use of super scope aspect ratio in the film.
Okay.
But that's that we're talking now, like fucking God, 80 years ago. So it's not even a debate that's us talking about, because I don't know very much about like the different aspects ratios that people used in 1956. So
yeah. I also just think it's weird that the thumbnails and stuff, like the previews for it and
are
stuff,
colorized.
Color. Yeah.
I actually, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I guess this is going to be colorized like they do on the Turner stuff, but it was not. It was on at least on Paramount, it's still in black and white.
Yes, that's where I watched it too. It's on Paramount Plus. Strange. Very strange.
Yeah, but I think that speaks to there's probably a version that is colorized somewhere.
Well, it's also like the opening too. I mean, all of you can look on Paramount Plus if you have the subscription. You'll see exactly what we're talking about. And then, so you start it and it has like the Wizard of Oz creepy black and white thing. And I thought that like they'd be copying the Wizard of Oz and have it go into Technicolor at some point.
Yeah.
Like when the Body Snatchers were there, like kind of a reverse Wizard of Oz.
What I'll tell you is that like the thumbnail on I don't know who did the colorization because Kevin McCarthy looks like a fucking doll. Like when he's
Maybe that was on
colorized.
purpose.
Like his face, he looks, all of his features are washed away, and it like and I don't think it was on purpose because you know how they are about that sort of thing, and I feel like they were almost like let's correct all the wrinkles in his face or whatever.
It's like he
And
insisted on it.
yeah, and but he ends up looking like one of the fucking pre-made pod people on the fucking cover.
We made
Like
pod people.
my very first thought when I saw that picture was, my God, how much plastic surgery has that man had? And then you see the movie and he looks fine. But in that particular thumbnail they use,
Yeah,
he looks like someone who like fucking Liberace or some shit. Like,
that's funny. It's also funny
yeah,
how weird the mind works, where sometimes it does completely illogical things and sometimes it's perfectly logical. Where I kept, because it was in black and white, I kept thinking those weren't the protagonists because the people who were colorized hadn't shown up yet.
yeah. Mm.
I'm
So
really pretty.
so interesting on here. I'll say I had to go into it an open mind because I have just my weird predisposition to hate things that are in black and white from the 50s.
Hmm.
And yet I'll say that there's a time where I was starting to think to myself that this film actually works in some ways that couldn't work today because of it coming out in the 50s.
Yeah.
Because at a midway point, when it looks like things have been solved, no one would believe that as an audience now.
Yeah.
But to audiences of the 1950s, it actually plays. I mean, the music changes and becomes very like optimistic, and it feels like, oh, well, that would have been, the ending that audiences seeing this for the very first time would have expected to have happened.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that this film is for its time was groundbreaking as it was, but then also add the fact that oh, well, that is not the ending
Yeah.
whatsoever. I think it's kind of brilliant.
Yeah. And in fact, the other thing about it is that I don't know, as I said, like I still love the 1978 version. I think that's the best one. I'm very excited for you to see that
Hmm.
next week, but it's just interesting like how this plays with a lot of conventions of stuff that we're too cynical now that wouldn't work. Um
Yeah.
And also now I also kept thinking to myself, in the world of fucking QAnon where there's all ridiculous, everything is a conspiracy theory. Like, I don't know how they'd be able to actually get away with something like this.
Yeah.
Because everyone's so willing to believe even the most bullshit conspiracy theories. I mean, when Tom Hanks is drinking children's blood, I'm sure they would believe 100%. Oh, yeah, people were making pods in the backyard. Let's burn their house down.
Yeah. 100%. I imagine too that because those type of conspiracy theorists I'm sure existed back then too. And what if someone after this came out was like, I wonder if I can do that.
Well, this movie, it's very interesting about how people interpreted it as to be both a warning about communism and a warning against McCarthyism.
Wow.
Which are two completely, literally opposite forces.
Yeah, they're so polarized, but I understand, I can see where they're coming from with both sides of that.
Yeah. And the director actually said that it was written about McCarthyism, but he tried to be as subtle about it as possible.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that people saw people who were on the McCarthyism side saw this as as an analogy of communism.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course they did.
So let's go into it. I figure we were able to delay a little bit because the thing that's always bothered me about so many older movies is all the credits are at the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know why that bothers me, but it does.
Well, it's like you just want to get to the fucking exposition. You just want to get to the point of it,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't bother me because I grew up on it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to. There's clouds in the background. It goes on for a minute and 40 seconds.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking, I was thinking about it. Like, I never saw a movie like that when I was a kid. My dad used to make us, like, sit through the credits as a kid. So I'm trying to imagine him just being like, oh, all right, I guess we leave. At the end of the movie. Any of the movies we had seen had done that.
Okay, I guess we're done here.
Yeah.
Cute.
So, once again, directed by Don Siegel. It's based on a novel.
Mhm.
That actually has a completely different ending, which I have to admit, I'm kind of glad they didn't go with the novel's ending, because I personally think the novel is kind of lame. Where basically the extraterrestrials have a lifespan of no more than 5 years. They leave Earth after realizing that humans are offering strong resistance. Literally, that's it. The aliens are just like, well, let's give up. We're only here for 5 years, so goodbye.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, none what's that's actually worse than the tacked on happy ending given to this.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work.
So
I mean, it obviously worked in the novel enough where they got a fucking like movie franchise
I
out of it.
guess. But well, they didn't get a movie franchise. They got one movie that's just been remade like 5
Right.
times.
You get what I mean. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Madness, I say.
Yeah. So anyway, so we start off with a police car at an emergency hospital. This is the prologue that isn't really part of the movie. Where we meet a character named Dr. Hill, who we only are going to see for the prologue and epilogue.
Yeah. Then again,
Yeah.
like you forget that those happen. Like once the ending happened, like I forgot. I was like, wait, how is this movie still going on? And then they went back, cut back to
Yeah.
this. And I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, because the ending is the perfect ending for it, where he's just in the middle of the street yelling and no one believes him, and that's how it should end.
Yeah. 100%.
You know?
I thought he'd get hit by a truck and like wind up on the highway from the bridge, and that would be the end of the movie. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. But then I had to
Yeah.
remind myself, Chelsea, this is 1956. They're not going to kill your protagonist like that.
Yeah. Well,
know?
I was, like, I was even going to make a joke about how, well, I guess the true moral of this movie is always believe whatever random squeegee man on the highway are yelling at you.
Yeah, apparently we've been fucking up all our lives.
You know?
Yeah, I should listen to all those people who preach at us on the fucking Manhattan streets. Like that, we should
Yes.
be listening to them.
Yes, exactly. We're all like, oh, they're fucking crazy. And nope, this movie proves. So he basically starts going into we meet Dr. Bennell, played by Kevin McCarthy. I will note he's the only actor that I actually made a note of because he's the only one that I knew. Because I've seen him in other stuff, a lot of older stuff.
I don't remember the actress's name who plays what's her butt in that, Becky, but I've seen her in something else before too.
At that age or older?
Oh, at that age.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So we go to a town called Santa Mira.
Is that made up?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. I was like, that's not in Los Angeles County. That does not exist anywhere near.
Yeah, no. There's an actual town that was used in the novel, and they wanted to shoot there and weren't able to afford it.
Okay.
It's so crazy, by the way. This had a $350,000 budget.
That's it.
Yeah. And it made $3 million, which was a huge deal for 1956.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. That's like going to like the fucking used, like skipping ahead to the used car lot. I'm like, that car's on sale for $195. What the fuck? Or like gas was something like in the cents. I was like, what?
Yeah, well, it's funny. Like I was, talking about the monthly Metro card in New York City, and the fact that in the 90s when they started the unlimited monthly, it was $63 fucking dollars.
Wow.
Which is insane to think about.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I used to like for years and years, I always got the unlimited monthly one. And then I was like, why? You have legs. Just leave 10 minutes earlier. You know what I mean? Like
well, coming from Brooklyn, it's it's a little But back when when I was in Manhattan, I don't think I ever really used the subway unless I was going to Brooklyn or Queens.
Yeah.
But
There's
yeah,
been times where I've even seen you, and you're just like, I'm gonna walk over the bridge now. I'm like, fucking
yeah.
crazy ass motherfucker.
Oh yeah, no, there's times where if I have enough time, I'll be like, all right, I can do the 3 hour walk. That's fine. You know?
It's so normal. And then I love the like this. I'm totally getting sidetracked, but the whole people being like New Yorkers in other places. I mean, like it's only a 17-minute walk, and it's on a highway.
Well, once again, remember you speak to the man who walked up Mulholland Drive at night.
Nothing you say surprises me anymore. I'm like, that makes sense. It's Charles.
Yeah, so we go to Santa Mira, where a lot of people want to see him because he's been gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, he was
he's a
giving
doctor.
lecture somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a doctor. He's been at a medical symposium. And
medical symposium, yes.
Yes, and then Nurse Sally says that people won't tell him what the problem is, but they want to see him specifically because he's been out of town for 2 weeks.
You know what? I just put that together.
Yeah.
I just put that together.
Well, there you go. There you go. And she also tells him that Becky Driscoll came back from England, and he mentions that his interest in married women is strictly professional, or yours would have been a lost cause long ago. Which in 2024 we would call that sexual harassment of his coworker.
No, some of the things like him like ordering the dry martini for Becky like without asking her what she wants and all this stuff. I'm like,
even him as a doctor slapping the boy patient on the ass on the way out.
Oh yeah. It's just like during that time, man was God. You know? Could do no.
So while they're on their drive, a little boy is being chased by someone named Mrs. Grimaldi. The boy doesn't want to go to school, and the boy is convinced that his mom isn't really his mom.
Yes. And I don't know that like I guess in 2 weeks' time he notices all these things like the Grimaldi's like farm stand used to be the busiest place in town, and now they've like closed up shop. It was too much of an upkeep. Like you notice little things where like this is not this town where a doctor like that, because he's a handsome fucking dude. Like he would go to a city. You know what I mean? Like those people don't live there. Him and Becky don't live there. It's just unrealistic. Just think about people that good looking living in that town. But anyway.
I imagine he's living in that town because he seems to be fucking several of the patients, and he also.
I know it's madness.
I'm kind of amused by how horny he is throughout every single situation in this film.
No, like he's so horny, but he's like given up on love, especially unmarried women. Like don't get involved with the doctor. Blah 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 blah. I'm like. Women didn't work like I work back then, but they aren't like, like they're going to do what you say, not do what I do, which is the opposite of what you tell me to do. So don't get involved with the doctor. I'd be like, well, you know what? I'm going to just love you even harder, which she's doing. I don't know. But it's very much the 1950s. Also, she has the thinnest waist on the planet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know people who used to do like waist training. So, like, I've known people with like
still do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know people with like a fucking like 19-inch waist, but like, it's
yeah. I'm like, your organs get all fucked up, man.
Oh yeah.
We had to do corset. We did corset training in college for like doing Chekhov and all that shit. Excuse me. So I get it, but yeah, I know people in my life currently who wear one every day.
Yeah.
Which good for them, but I'd be nervous. My organs are fucked up as they are. I don't want to fuck.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna do training, you have to do that. It's like being a contortionist. You can't take a day off of being a contortionist.
Okay, I'll never take a day off as being a contortionist again.
Yeah, no, because I remember my friend who actually is in the circus was telling me that about how, because I was wondering, I was like, hey, can I learn how to do that? And she's like, you can, but it's dedication. It's to the point where if you skip one day, you've lost about a week of progress.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because your body is not meant to do those positions. So if you're not doing them literally every single day, the body's like, well, I guess we're gonna go back to normal now.
We're human now. No body snatching for you.
No more putting my forehead up my ass anymore. So
God damn it. I really liked that too.
yeah. So we meet Becky. He hasn't and she says she feels like a stranger in her own country. I do like him going, what will you have? We're pushing appendectomies this week.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, so her cousin Wilma is delusional. And she's convinced that her dad, Becky's uncle is
Ira,
is not really him. He's an imposter.
He's an imposter. It only looks like him. They're not convinced. I don't know. Basically, this sets off a shit ton of people being like, my person is not who they are.
Yeah.
All the emotion is gone from them. And I don't know. I mean, like, I want to like bring that back. I want to bring that ideal back and be like,
yeah,
you're not acting.
I don't know. I always figured. I remember, in fact, my ex said that I would be the easiest person to tell was a pod person.
100%. It'd be like, Charles, where's Charles?
Yeah. That's what I always found funny. And someone's like, you know what? Like sometimes I find it annoying, but because of this, it would be like I would immediately know you were one of the alien people.
Here's how I know. Here's how, like a million different ways where I know, because I know you so well. But you're not wearing black one day.
Yeah. Well, I think I might still be wearing black. I mean, it's not like they go buy. It's not like they go buy new clothes.
It's true, but maybe because you, it'd be like something's wrong. I'm going to call this horrible psychiatrist. I hate this psychiatrist.
Yeah, this psychiatrist just seems to gaslight everyone he runs into.
He does. He gaslights everyone, and he acts more like a fucking like crooked cop than he does a fucking shrink. Did we meet him yet? Anyway, he sucks.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
So at this point, they talk a little bit about Becky and his relationship. And how they tried to make things work, didn't, and how he also was married at one point, but he's no longer. But he's still super fucking flirty.
Flirty. He just gives right into it too. I'd make him work for it.
So at this point, a boy runs in, and they're being super rough with the kid.
Is this the Jimmy kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's trying to run out of his office. Once again, it says his mom isn't his mom. And doctor says to keep him with her for a day or two. And he gives him, I assume, Ritalin, just because that's what they were giving everybody at the time.
Yeah, no, I was like, you're just going to give this kid these pills? Like,
yeah.
Like, the other woman just doesn't even, like, question. Like, yeah, sure, okay, of course.
Yeah, that's why I assume it was Ritalin. That's why I assume it was Ritalin. Because that was, like, the little thing to give everybody. Yeah. Although it's funny thinking about it, if it had been, I don't know, 100 years earlier, it would have been heroin or something.
Yeah, I love those, like, even New Yorker memes, like there was one New Yorker cartoon that came out, it was like 1890s. Oh, you don't feel well? Here, do some cocaine about it.
Yeah. The very fact that Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it is, to me, one of the funniest facts, like, in the world.
I know, it's crazy. And that's one of my other favorite memes, too. It's like, stop trying to fuck with Coca-Cola and bring us new flavors. Either put the cocaine back in it or don't fuck with it at all.
Yeah. So Sally's going to call the boy's mother and tell her where he is. Mm-hmm. And at this point, he heads out to Wilma and Becky and Ira's place. I'm sorry, Wilma and Ira's place. So it's weird for me that there are people like from the same family with different homes. That's weird for me. But
it does happen. And he's mowing like with so Uncle Ira's mowing with like the best 1950s mower ever. It's just the only thing that it doesn't make sense because he's like mindlessly like mowing his lawn. He would actually cut through all the grass and like destroy the dirt like at that point, because he was doing it so long.
It's not like they made them dumb. It's that they made them, just unemotional. Yeah.
Yeah. So Wilma's
So
freaking out. I don't blame her.
yeah. And she talks about how there was a special look in his eye when he talks to her and how that's gone, but he has the same memories. He's this, he remembers everything down to the littlest detail.
Including the memories, but memories are not. It's not Ira. And
Yeah.
of course, the doctor. What's his fucking name again? Sexy doctor man.
Bennell, Dr. Bennell.
Dr. Bennell, Miles. Yes.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm gonna find a way to help you. And he wants him to go see this. He wants her to go see this shrink. This is one of those things. One of those little things that was so like, oh, this is 1950s in comparison to now. That she asks, will you go make an appointment for me? He's going to make an appointment for her to see this. I'm like, wait, doctors making appointments for you? That's amazing. God, what would I give for my PCP to like fucking go and make a fucking podiatrist appointment for me? It's wild.
Yeah. And I do love him. The trouble is inside you. You're silly woman. You're just insane. So he'll make an appointment with his friend, Dr. Ben Kaufman. And so Becky leaves with him. And I was commenting that they look like the top of a wedding cake to me.
Yeah, they do. Peanut agrees.
Yeah. So at this point,
hey, lay down. It's podcast time, little one. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So at this point, Uncle Ira says it's nice having her back. And he's starting to suspect something. And they discuss how Wilma feels, and he doesn't know what Wilma's trouble is. And at that point, then of course he flirts with
Becky.
Right? Yeah, there's more flirting with him and Becky in the car. And a car almost hits them, and it's Dan Kaufman, the psychiatrist.
No, can I just say that Miles he's a terrible driver.
Yes.
This doctor is not a good driver at all.
Yeah.
No matter what he does, he's swerving. He doesn't put the car in park. Like, oh, it's so funny.
The thing that occurred to me in the next scene is that Dr. Kaufman is there with a doctor who delivered Becky. And he hey, I'm the one who delivered you. And all I can and all I can think is so he just randomly announces to people that he's seen their mom's vagina.
Apparently, women are property, Charles.
I guess. Hi, person who I have seen come from beyond labia. It's such a weird.
Beyond labia. There's a new title for this movie that came from beyond the labia.
That's the porn parody, I assume.
Yes.
Where the pods, something else is coming out of the pods.
Invasion of the labia. It'd be great. Yeah.
So he tells the psychiatrist what the problem is, and he says he knows about the issue. He's seen about a dozen patients, and it's an epidemic of mass hysteria. Yeah.
I just love that the shrink and this doctor almost just hit each other and die. It could have been really bad too, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
No matter what, he's already this Kaufman's already just being a fucking prick. I think no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's right? I was going to say it seems pretty clear that Kaufman is already one of them at this point.
Yes. Well, at this point, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? But did we skip over the dinner scene? Because they go to dinner.
They're right about to have dinner now.
Okay. They go to dinner, but they don't have dinner. And the thing that they get the call at the bar, he has to come right away to their friend Jack and Teddy's house to see.
Yeah.
And the guy already made the fucking martinis. And then he just doesn't pay the bartender for the drinks that are already poured.
The bartender looks very annoyed too. The face that he gives. Yeah.
I hope he drank both of them. I mean,
I will say there's a line he gives here that I was a little surprised they got away with in the 50s, where she asks, "Is this an example of your bedside manner?" And he goes, "No, ma'am, that comes later."
Oh yeah.
I was a little surprised that they were able to get away with a line like that.
Yeah, no, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, so someone I was going to say, go on.
Ahead. No, I was going to say he's really skeezy.
Yeah.
And he gets away with it because he's a doctor and he's good.
Yes. So at this point, what was it? Oh my God, who was it who made a comment about that? about how if Brad Pitt is the one like hitting on you all the time at work, you're gonna be more receptive of it than if it's Paul Giamatti hitting on you at work all the time.
It's true.
Yeah. And it was some woman said that, and she's like, I hate to say it, but it's the reality of it. If they said the exact same thing and acted the exact same way,
Yeah.
and there's two guys at your job and you're like a secretary and they're constantly hitting on you, you're going to be less upset if he looks like Brad Pitt than if he looks like Paul Giamatti.
Yep. No, it's true. It's
sad. Because Kevin McCarthy's character is a good looking guy at this time. He's able to get away with being just the biggest sexual harasser in like fucking town.
Yeah. Yeah. And nobody questions it either. Well, it's
no.
50s, Chelsea. It's the 50s.
No, so they go to Jack Belichick's place, and that was apparently an emergency.
Yeah, and he wants him to pretend that he's not a doctor before he goes in. And I mean, like, this is also the paradigms of the 50s too, because they're not body snatched yet. The four of them. The spoiler alert from a movie in the 50s. But what amazes me so much is like how they greet each other, even though like Teddy's in hysterics in a way, but they are so calm.
Yeah.
And so like friendly and flirty, like, oh, Becky, so good to see you. I'm so glad you're back. And then, oh, there's a dead body on your pool table. Don't be a doctor. Don't call the police right away like that. You can't do that right now.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Fucking crazy.
And it's also funny because I also realize if I ever were to say to anyone, okay, Chelsea, you have to forget you're a doctor for a minute.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, what'd you do?
Yeah, exactly.
What'd you do? So, I love that Jack is also smoking a pipe. That makes me so happy.
Yes, he's the most like 1950s dad looking, dude there.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So on the pool table is a body under the sheet, which because special effects were not as advanced as they are now, it kind of just looks like him, really.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't look as featureless as they're saying it does.
Yeah. No, I was like, that just looks like that dude. Do you want to come up and sit with me? You can come talk about body snatching.
And it has no fingerprints, and it weighs exactly the same, and it is exactly the same height as him.
Yes, so that's convenient. So his wife's freaking out, but then she's fine. Ooh, stinky farts. Yeah, so they repeat that it's an epidemic of mass hysteria. And that, Becky's cousin has it. And there's several cases of this delusion. I don't know.
I was gonna say, where are you? You're where
I'm there.
Are you with where?
Yeah, I think, unless I'm in the next scene already.
Maybe because we're at where Jack accidentally cut his hand while making them a bourbon.
Yes, he did cut his hand. It's all fixed up, and then that comes later.
Yeah. So Becky wants to call the police.
Yes.
And now they start wondering if there's a connection.
Yes.
Between people saying, that person's not that person, and there being a random body that kind of looks like Jack.
Yeah.
In the in the pool table.
It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. It's just crazy how long it took for people to take this seriously too. You know what I mean? Like, it's just wild. I guess it's only 24 hours or something.
But I mean, think about it. If they're able to replace you in a single night.
In a single second, apparently.
Well, yeah, that's true, actually. When she falls asleep at the end and she's just replaced immediately.
2 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
it is an epidemic of mass hysteria.
Yeah, this would be I kept thinking to myself about how I don't know if Freddy Krueger would love or hate this.
Someone's fucking stealing my shit, man.
Everyone they replace it, no one I replace it with, they don't fear anything anymore. What the hell is this shit?
Yeah, Freddy just withers away to nothing. He begs for a fucking pod for himself.
Freddy would try to help the doctor so that he could
Oh yeah. 100%.
That would be an interesting crossover, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't hate it.
the pods land on Elm Street, and Freddy has to actually help people in order to keep his powers. Because if they don't fear anything, he'll be helpless.
I love that. I actually really love that.
Yeah.
Wait until that becomes public domain.
So
Charles
well,
is like,
right now-
I'm on it.
well, right now, so Becky brings him home. He's into her house. Her dad is in the basement.
Yes. What are you doing in the basement so late? Yeah, I don't know. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It's so you're suspicious of him already,
Mm-hmm.
but basically they go upstairs and what's his butt leaves.
Yeah.
Sexy Miles man.
Dr. Bennell.
Dr. Pennell.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to yell that, Gurker. I'm so sorry.
So meanwhile, Jack and his wife, Teddy. What is Teddy short for in a woman? I know it's Theodore in a man, but
I have no idea.
okay.
I have no idea.
Because I have legitimately never heard a woman with the nickname Teddy.
I've heard it before. I
Yeah.
think it could just be someone's name.
Mm,
Honestly, I don't
maybe.
know. Unconventional for like the 50s, but everyone calls her that.
Yeah. So, well, that's why I figured it had to be short for something because a woman wouldn't be using a man's name at the time.
Yeah.
So that's why I figured maybe it was a common name that we don't really use
Theodora.
anymore.
Theodora.
Maybe. Yeah, like how like, say Gertrude is not a common name anymore.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah.
There's only one.
There you go.
Yes.
So at this point, Jack and Teddy wake up and they notice that it's interesting though, because the rules are not really established because they're asleep for a while.
Yeah.
And it's only halfway formed, but it now has the same cut on its hand that her husband had.
Yep. Yeah, they were asleep for a while. That's first. I didn't even think about that. That correlation doesn't make any sense. Maybe they're advancing.
Mm.
They could be.
Yeah. There's a reason. I'll just say there's a reason for that in the 1973 and 1978 version.
Okay.
In that they stop while you're awake, but they'll keep going when you go back to sleep.
Okay.
So if there was already one that was already being made of you, and then you went back to sleep for like 2 seconds, then that one would be finishing up.
That's what she said.
So
they go to Miles's house.
Yeah.
Yes, as you do. I keep forgetting his last name, so I'm just gonna keep calling him Miles.
Yeah.
Teddy's freaking out. It's alive. It's alive. So the position of the body changed. He had the blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So he wants to call Dr. Kaufman because Teddy's obviously going nuts too. All these women are crazy. One of my favorite parts of the movie happens during this phone call though, because I love Dr. Kaufman during this exchange. He's just so angry. Hello? Yeah, okay. Like, come over here now. It's just really, it's almost comical. Like, how agitated he seems at waking up and having to do this.
Well, I was going to say, you realize he didn't wake up.
Correct.
He was just putting that voice on to make it sound like he had been asleep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do the body snatchers sleep?
No. So that's why he was making that voice, to make it sound as that was his impersonation of a human waking up.
Well, that's even fucking more hilarious. That's just a genius move, like on the scripts part. Honestly, I love that so much.
Yeah.
So he notices that the basement door is open. In his own place, and freaks out about Becky. Who asked him, "Do you think Becky's all right?" Who asked him that? Jack or Teddy?
Yeah.
Do you think
I'm pretty sure, by the way, the guy who was in the basement reading the meter, that I think that's the Sam Peckinpah character.
Okay.
Yeah.
The gas man.
Yeah.
The one who's gonna put it out on the patio, the meter.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it's so typical of like film noir, the narration and stuff, So I loved it when they did the little narration. It was just very stylistic and reminiscent of the time. He just is overwhelmed thinking that something bad was happening to Becky. He had a premonition or something.
So he just kind of goes there and breaks her basement window.
See, yeah, no, that's the other thing. I'm like, for like how many weeks in a row now there's breaking and entering. Absolutely wild. Yeah, so he breaks the basement window, he randomly finds a match and strikes it on some old machine, which I didn't realize.
I don't think he randomly found it. He had it on him because he's a smoker.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it was the only one he had.
But it was the strongest fucking match I think I've ever seen because it lit up the entire fucking room.
Oh, it did. It did. I did like how realistic he was about like when it got too close to him, he had to blow it out because it probably actually just hurt the fucking actor's fingers.
Yeah.
You know, I did like that. I was like, that's not acting. So Becky's dead. No, it's like the pod. It's like in the basement in this like shed type latch type thing is basically the body snatcher version of Becky.
Pod Becky.
Pod Becky. Pod
Yes.
Becky. Yes. Goes upstairs. I wrote there's lots of breaking and entering in the movies Charles has me watch. That's what I wrote.
and then he basically just abducts Becky, really.
It's also remarkable like that she
and
can sleep that
and
heavily.
does not shut her front door either on his way out.
No, he doesn't. And he also parks horribly. He doesn't even put the car in park. He doesn't.
See, like, I don't even know any of that sort of stuff.
He doesn't even shut the door. Like he must. It's like absolutely absurd and horrible. Like if any of the neighbors weren't already pod people, like how he parked outside of her driveway would be enough for them to call the police. Like it was just an abomination. Yes.
So now they run into Dr. Kaufman.
Do they?
And he wants to see the bodies. So they go to Jack's place. That one's gone. And that's when he starts implying that Jack has murdered a man.
Yeah. He basically like he has very logical explanations that are completely like chauvinistic and like he doesn't listen to anything anyone says.
Yeah.
This whole time. Like I wanted to punch that man in the face. Pod Kaufman in the face. But at this point you don't know that he's a pod person. Yeah, but I wanted to kill him. I really did.
Yeah, he starts seriously gaslighting just everyone in sight at this point in the film.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, even to the point where he's saying to Dr. Bennell, doctors can have hallucinations too.
Yeah. Fucked up.
So they go to Becky's.
Yes, they go to Becky's. Where's your girlfriend's double? So there's no body in there anymore. Reality became unreality. Like he's aware of everything that's going on, but how he explains it is like, Miles, like this man just became Jack's double in your mind. The hallucinations even happen to witch doctors like me. So he's even calling himself a witch doctor, which I think is hilarious. So you only saw all this in your mind. And Becky's dad, like rightfully so, comes down with a fucking gun and is like, who the fuck is in my basement?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. So and then the fucking Kaufman's fucking gaslighting them even more, saying these are patients.
Yeah.
This is our office. These are patients. They need help.
Yeah.
So then fucking hilarious. One of my other favorite parts of this movie is the cop just hanging out in the fucking basement window.
Yep.
And it's all of a sudden now completely broken. Like, and there's no glass shards when he only broke through one panel to unlatch it beforehand.
Yeah.
And I just found this hilarious. And so like this might as well have been like a Three Stooges movie moment. Like
I've got a good mind to throw you all in jail.
Yes. Richard, do you agree? Yes.
And then then he tells them that he's seen the body in the morgue. So they start believing, oh, maybe we were crazy.
Like you gaslight someone so much, they will actually start to think you're crazy. That's something that they are crazy. That's something that has not changed.
What occurred to me though about this movie is I realized at this point the title is actually kind of ingenious for people seeing it, and only for this version is actually ingenious as a misdirect. Because if people at this point think, oh, okay, the paranoia isn't real, people are stealing bodies. Then literally people can start thinking to themselves, oh my God, the plot is someone is snatching bodies.
That's true.
Yeah.
But the thing that bothers me too is that we never see what really happens to the people's actual bodies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what happens to them.
Yeah, they wait till the 78 version shows you, but this
Okay.
version does not. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
300 fucking $1,000 budget or whatever the fuck. Like, makes sense.
Yeah.
I was
Although
impressed with how they did
1950,
it.
1956, 300,000 fucking dollars is a big amount of money.
That's true.
Like, I don't have any idea about adjusting for inflation, but I assume that'd be the equivalent of like a $1 or $2 million movie now.
Oh, at least. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why did I write eggs? Oh, breakfast. That's what.
Yeah. So Becky's making food for him, and here's where we see Sam Peckinpah. And the gas man who let himself uninvited because I guess he's the ancestor of the cast of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's hilarious. I love
Yeah.
that.
Jack, and then Jack and Teddy are feeling great. Jack asks if he and Teddy can stay for a couple days. And this is a scene where I said I think this works even better in the everything will be all right like 1950s.
Yeah.
Because now we're a cynical audience trained to be okay. Obviously, this is a fake out.
Yeah.
But for them who actually got endings like that, it actually works probably a lot better.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
It's also just nice that people are like, yeah, sure, you can stay for a couple days. Like,
yeah. So Becky's cousin is fine now.
It's weird that everyone is fine now.
Yeah. And the little boy is looking to go home with his mom, and then the doctor touches him inappropriately on the way out.
Jesus Christ. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now they're all having a barbecue. Dr. Bennell. Well, I don't know why I said that with like the fucking Rick from Rick and Morty delivery. Now they're all having a barbecue, Morty. You know. So he, Becky, Teddy, and Jack are having a barbecue. We see a weird plant in the foreground, and it's oozing.
It's oozing. It's like a chrysalis, like a cocoon, and then they call it. What do they call them? Seed
Whoa,
pods?
whoa! What word did you just say?
A chrysalis?
No, after that, like
Cocoon.
say that again.
A cocoon.
Oh, okay. Okay, you pronounced it like cocoon before, and I was like, "Wait, is that some weird Massachusetts way of
A
pronouncing it?"
cocoon.
Yeah, a cocoon. Yeah,
A cocoon. Yes, I was like,
cocoon.
probably because Peanut was kissing me. Yeah,
Aw,
we're gonna blame it on Peanut.
okay, that would explain it.
No, us
so
Masters
yeah,
are dumb, but we're not that dumb.
so at this point, bodies start just coming from it, kind of like a bloom, like the bloom of a plant, you know.
Mhm.
And this is when Becky starts noticing her father is different too. And Dr. Bennell suggests looking at every house, and he's going to call the police, but Jack says not to do that. So they decide they're going to call the FBI in LA.
Yes, and they are not available. Then what is it? Sacramento's not like busy, and
Yeah.
there's a pitchfork involved, and it's just, and they realize the way they have to do is they have to like get on the highway. They have to get out of town before like some shit gets
Yeah.
crazy. So they want the
Yeah.
women to do it. Becky won't leave her man. I would have been like, bye.
Then you would have been converted too.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jack and Teddy wind up leaving, right?
Mhm.
And basically I don't know, he winds up stabbing all of the likenesses that are the pod versions of themselves. He stabs them with a,
Yeah.
or he can't stab Becky's version, but
Yeah.
he stabs himself. Yes, pod version of himself. I just
Yeah.
kept thinking about like Little Shop of Horrors too, and I was like, what if there's an Audrey 2 plant in there too? It was like, hey, Miles, we're the body snatchers. Would have been
Well,
brilliant.
there you go. There you go. So they're trying to figure out what to do, and they go to the gas station, and he notices that the gas attendant opened the trunk of his car.
Oh yeah, I missed
Yeah.
that entirely.
Yeah, so that's why they stop the car and open the trunk and discover that he put 2 pods in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just thought it was like these people are fucking weird as fuck.
So here's the thing that's weird is they decide let's go talk to Sally. I don't understand why he wouldn't think Sally was replaced as well.
I don't know, because she's a nurse and she's smarter than that, but you can't really control sleep, I guess.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, at this point, they don't know it has to do with sleep yet, but still, whatever it is, it's best to assume everyone has been converted
Yeah.
until they can prove otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the fucking. I like that, they call places like, you're here for lube and stuff, but the gas station just says lubrication.
Yes.
I love that so much. Next to
Yes.
me is a
Well,
place, this down like a mile down the road. It's called Handy Lube.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
Well, you see, it's two totally different things. A place called Handy Lube is a place where you can buy like, Astroglide and stuff. But a place that offers lubrication, that's where the guys finger you. So,
See, it's funny though too, because like now that I'm a car owner, I'm slowly figuring out like cars and shit. And I'm like, I still don't understand why people need lube for their cars. I know it's a different thing.
Yeah.
You get your oil.
Well, how else are you gonna fuck the turn the tailpipe?
The muffler.
The tailpipe. How are you supposed to
my
fuck
muffler.
it otherwise?
My muffler fucking fell off today. That's fine.
There you go.
Yeah, it's expensive.
But yeah, no, like if you go to a place that's lubrication, they have you just sit like pantsless on like one of those little like the things that they race the cars on.
And then Harvey Weinstein comes out of nowhere.
Well, then no, it's not. It's come on, this is legitimate business, Chelsea.
There are no places in this business.
So the guy just kind of goes for a little bit, and is like, "All right, ma'am, you're ready to go home to your husband." And
yeah, wasn't there? There was some Ryan Murphy show where that happened.
I don't know. I'm sure that happens in like 90% of Ryan Murphy's weird films. So I stopped watching. I stopped watching when they put on Kim Kardashian in American Horror Story. I've never seen any of those episodes, and I think I've lost interest in. I think I've lost interest in the show at that point.
Yeah, I didn't see a couple seasons before that. Kids, please don't kill each other right now. Thank you.
So, they go to Sally's place,
which is a big mistake.
Yeah, because all the pod people are just hanging out, and they're like, "Let's put the pod in the playpen with the baby. Then there'll be no more tears."
I know. It's absolutely, absolutely wild. And I would have been like, that would have freaked me the fuck out. Like, if I was naive, like, it seems like Miles is no longer, but if this happened like 3 scenes earlier, I would have been like, why wasn't I invited? I don't understand. I wrote, yeah, that's a silly move.
Yeah. So what's really interesting, and it's here's where they put the for sale sign on the car, which I thought was a smart move.
Oh, definitely.
However, what's not a smart move is why would you go to your office? The place.
Exactly. Why do you go to your fucking office?
Going to your house or your office would be the first 2 places that if I were pod people, I would look for someone.
Yep, exactly. And they do have like they hide in a closet, which is stupid. And then like there's someone who comes, a security guy who comes to check, and then he's convinced no one will come by until morning. I'm like, you are literally at this point. We forgot to mention that they are wanted people.
Yeah. Well, it's here where they become wanted because the police put out an APB for them.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just not a smart move. Not a smart move. You go to your office. And then they take what I guess would be probably Ritalin to stay awake all night.
Yeah. I don't know if Ritalin's an upper though. I don't know.
Yes, it is. It's like
it is. Okay.
It's like if they don't prescribe you Adderall for ADHD, they give you Ritalin.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who are on it.
Yeah. And so I basically at this point they say we have to fight to stay human. And now when we realize how precious it is to us, so of course he uses that to get laid.
Oh yeah, totally. So the phone fucking rings too, and Becky's like, "Oh, it could be Jack trying to find us." And at least Miles is just like, Jack would know better than to use the fucking phone.
Yeah,
thank God. Confused as to why he hasn't come, and then they look down at the town square, or I wrote it as the town triangle. because you have like a Park Square in towns and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like in my hometown in Pittsfield, we have Park Square is what we call it, but it's a circle, so I call it Park Circle.
Park Circle. Okay.
So this is Park Triangle because it's a
Yeah.
triangle.
Yeah.
And it's 7:45 in the morning, and it's bustling, and buses are
Yeah.
coming in, and trucks are coming in. Must be strangers in town. Too early to be so busy, so I guess yes, that makes sense. They don't sleep.
Yeah.
So everyone congregates in this town triangle, and these farmers' trucks come in with all these pods.
Well, you
And
forgot to mention, by the way, they just arrest the people who come off the bus immediately. So I guess they can.
I missed that.
Yeah, there's 3 people who get off the bus, and the police just immediately collect them, put them in the back of the car, and drive off.
Oh, I missed that entirely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So they're calling off different names, or different like towns
Mhm.
that are neighboring this place, and then telling them what truck to go to pick up the pods for like their relatives or their friends
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck. Which I
Yeah.
think is like, I thought that was a nice touch. Like it was a good plot point. You know, it's creative. It's I mean, entirely fucked up, but makes sense. Now, I feel like everyone should be. It's like in Massachusetts and even in the city now. Excuse me. The how everywhere's a dispensary. It's like
Yeah.
imagine if everything was like a pod shop instead of a pot shop. You know, it's not unrealistic.
It'd be very hard for them to get those giant pods through the little the little like space in the
Little space in the thing.
yeah, to get that though.
They'd have one that was pod sized.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everyone would just be armed. It'd be great.
Yeah, so at this point, the doorknob starts turning. The doorknob starts turning. God damn it! The doorknob
great.
starts turning, and Jack is at the door, but turns out Jack has been
Turned, potted,
yeah,
potted.
yeah, and that's when they explain that it'd be so much easier if you'd just gone to sleep last night. It doesn't hurt, and once you understand, you'll be grateful.
Yeah, that fucked me up.
Yeah.
They'll have to go to sleep at some point. Oh, Teddy's into it now. Like she's not scared anymore. She loves it. You know, trying to like make Becky feel better. You know, there's no pain. You know, what does it say? This seed pods reproduce themselves in the exact likeness of any form of life. They came out of the sky, and there's no pain.
Yeah.
Cell for cell, atom for atom. You know, they absorb your memories, your mind, and you're reborn into an untroubled world where everyone's the same, essentially.
Yeah.
It says.
Yeah. And I'll say it's interesting. I don't know if I guess it's not spoiling anything because I'll say that having never seen this one before, the next line was my favorite line of 1978 version, and it's always stuck with me. Which was we're not the last ones left. They'll destroy you, and him saying tomorrow you won't want them to.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite line in the 1978 version. And it's still a really powerful line here, too.
Well, it must have been powerful enough to audiences and to everyone where they kept it and put it in the 1970s.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Believe me, it isn't terrible. You know, they're talking about love. Love never lasts. I love that too. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, well, he's like, I love Becky. Well, I feel the same. And he's like, there's no need for love.
Yeah.
It doesn't last. It never does. Love, desire, ambition, faith. Without them, life is so simple.
You've been in love before. It didn't work out. Yeah, it's fucking.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I'm sure there are millions of people who would love this to happen.
Yeah.
Overall.
You know, I honestly, I kind of relate to their opinion. But you know, but that's just because I'm, you know, a bitter, broken human. So
I am Pod Charles now.
You know, maybe it wouldn't be so easy to tell, huh? There you go.
You still make crazy films, but nobody has any opinion about it. That would that would suck.
Everyone just attends them because they're factual.
Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God. You know, he doesn't want that. Obviously, they don't want that. And he said, well, you have no choice.
Yeah.
And he says, I guess we haven't any choice. And they kiss. Becky's like, I want to love you. I want to be loved. I want to have your children, blah, blah, blah. She's complaining about not having a shot or a sleeping pill or something to slow their mind. And he goes into the cabinet and pulls out knives, which makes sense. And then goes instead and gets a vial of medication.
I would
to
assume they were
prevent it.
scalpels because it's a medical office.
It didn't look like scalpels unless they looked entirely different.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have no way of knowing without like searching for what
I'm
they
not
looked like at the time, and I'm not about to do that.
I'm not about to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he gets a vial or something and he like fills up syringes with it. And I think this is really clever, this sequence.
Hmm.
Tells
Yeah.
her to so they're in his office, and then in the nurse's room is where Kaufman and Jack are
Jack.
just completely like just standing there, kind of lifeless in a way.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a tableau. And he tells her to go and stand behind the desk. And he goes into the closet they were in earlier, and then there's a fucking he does this what do you call it? Like he moves something, knocks something over to rouse them up
Yeah.
or like disturb them. And then there's a door on the other side of this closet that he's able to then sneak attack them and sneak them, as I like to say, and inject them with this stuff, which puts them to sleep.
Yeah.
Yes. And then she's able to do the same thing too to the cop dude who's outside.
Yeah.
I think it's ingenious.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's the interesting thing. So then they go out the front door and they decide to just go blank and look like they've already been converted.
Yes.
Yeah.
My only issue with this, can aliens not smell the difference?
I don't know. I assume not.
Yeah, it's weird to me that they couldn't like smell the difference.
Mm.
And so a dog almost gets run over, which I literally shielded my eyes.
And that's how they get made out, because she screams when it looks like the dog's gonna get hit.
Yeah. And so the cop goes up and sees, like we assume sees everyone like passed out in his office from whatever he infected them with. That chaos ensues. But the dog is fine. Oh wait, we never established either, like, are animals okay with this?
They said every single living
form.
being can be converted.
This dog just seems happy as can be.
Yeah. It's probably a dog that, honestly, if you think about it, if people don't care about things anymore, it might have been someone's dog that just like wandered off trying to find its person.
Yep. Oh no, I'm gonna get depressed.
Yeah.
So the dude gets in the patrol car. The cop does turn the main siren on. They go up a shit ton of stairs, like outdoor stairs, which they have all over, like Los Angeles County, hills with stairs. And I wondered, like, then how many takes did they have to do with that? Because fuck this whole sequence as far as like as an actor, because she's a little waif of a thing. Like, can you imagine? Like, I would actually be as exhausted as she is. Fuck, I'd be more exhausted than she is. Like,
well, plus keep in mind it's LA, so how hot it must have actually been.
100%. And then I see, like, so there's an angry, they're not angry because they don't have emotion, but a mob of the townspeople coming after them, and they had to all go up those fucking stairs.
Yeah,
climbing mountains.
I'm just trying to imagine, like, the extras coming to work that day and being told, we're going to go up and down these 900 stairs all day today in the hot LA sun. So
I'd be like, this is gonna be a no from me, dog. Absolutely not.
Nope. I do kind of love them when they're hiding in like the I guess a mine tunnel or whatever. And they go under the boards.
They go under the boards, under the planks. Yeah, that's clever, and that's what I really thought about. Like, can they not smell it? And it's like they're really lucky that no one looked down.
Yeah.
But I think, and I love that shot too of them like holding each other while they're underneath there too. It's like they put themselves in their own grave in a way.
Yeah.
I thought that was really clever.
So at this point, they hear music, and she comments she's never heard anything so beautiful.
Yeah.
And so we're not the only ones left who know what love is. And so he says, stay here and pray that they're as human as they sound. Becky's splashing water in her face, and he goes around the mountain to see what it is, but it turns out that it's just a greenery where they're growing more pods.
And it's coming from the car radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, that devastated me. But I mean, like, I didn't want the movie to end well,
Yeah.
because we work in horror.
Yeah. So he heads back to Becky and he calls to her and he collapses. He says, "We can't make it without sleep." She opens her eyes, but they're cold and unemotional.
She's asleep for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. But I love that they're like making out right before that moment in the fucking like in a puddle.
Yeah.
I was like, God, how many takes of that did they have to do? Whose idea was that? It seems unnecessary. Like the poor like hair and makeup team. If they
Yeah.
had to do several takes of that, would be like, well, your hair is all fucking wet now. Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, we need another 20 minutes, but so we can dry it before the next take. Madness, I say.
So she says, "Stop acting like a fool and accept us." And then she starts yelling that he's in here. And he runs off. He's being chased by the whole emotionless mob.
Emotionless mob. The music.
Yeah. Trying to get to the highway. And they even say, "Just let him go. No one will believe him."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he starts flagging down cars, but no one cares. Everyone just thinks he's a drunk or crazy person.
Yep, which makes sense.
Which is exactly what people would think if you were doing that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And the movie should have ended there.
Yeah, where he goes, "Look at you fools. They're after you. They're after all of us. They're here already and you're next." Which is the logical point of where the movie should end.
I'd be like, lock all the doors in the car. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. But and then it goes, of course, to just the tacked on shitty epilogue where just miraculously a truck what happened? I didn't remember what they had to like dig a guy out of a truck and he was covered in seed pods.
Yes, it was covered in these seed pods, and this guy like got in an accident, and they're bringing him to the OR. And you turn around and they go back to Miles, and now people are starting to believe him. They're getting on the radio calling the FBI. And there's a close up of him just being in like a mixture of emotions, but shitty ending.
Yeah. Like I can totally see why the director and the producer both hated that they were made to basically shoot that and put that in there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because that's the thing is they didn't like that ending, but they had to shoot it because they were ordered by the studio to do so.
Yeah, I wonder how far into production it was where they shot the prologue and the epilogue.
It was in post.
I figured it was in post.
It was in post
they
after
brought everyone back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they didn't bring everyone back. They really just brought him. They just brought Dr. Bennell.
Yeah.
And then it's all new characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, that was something that the studio, after this movie was done, the studio made them go back and shoot that part.
Yeah.
So I guess they had to cast all the new people and everything then. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and overall, I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot more than I thought I was gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I knew that, like, if you really didn't like it, you would have made it very clear. I was like, wow, she probably actually enjoyed it. Well, I think it was, again, I said this before, revolutionary for its time.
Yeah.
And I have a great appreciation for like cinema of that era. And actually, well, the era before that, 30s and 40s, like I said, this made me like 50s movies more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, me, my big appreciation is for stuff from the 70s. So it's like this the remake is where my like love of cinema comes in.
Yeah, totally.
So, I still like the remake better, but there's a lot of and I'm really curious to see now your reaction to the remake, because there's some stuff that I'm really curious to see how you'll react to how it's handled in the remake of it.
Okay, as long as it's not like the original Chainsaw, then I'm good.
Yeah. It's very close to plot wise. Okay. Like the general outline is very close to to this one, except it takes place in San Francisco, so it's in a city.
Okay. Oh, well, I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's in a city. It's in a city. Yeah, as I said, there's one part. I'm so anxious to to see what you think of it, because it's I really appreciate it more now after seeing this one.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah,
But,
well, that's next week. I'm
yeah.
excited about that.
Yep. So that one's next week. And yeah, so Chelsea, where can people find you?
You can find me at Chelsea.Lesage on Instagram. And where can they find you, Charles?
They can't. I am elusive.
He's Pod Charles. That's Pod Charles.
But I also can be found at charles.d.lincoln.
Yes, and you can find us at CL Square
Together.
Productions on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
Check out our things and raise our point in the algorithm.
Yes, please. Please subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah.
We love you. And we'll see you again next week.
I
Or
don't
maybe you won't.
understand that feeling. I do not love them because there is no need for love. So,
Very good. Very good.
alrighty. So
Thank you,
Um,
everyone.
yes, if you listen to our next podcast, we will talk to you then. Goodbye.
Whoa! I just believed you for a second. I was like, is he mad at me? Wait, no, mad is an emotion.
There you go. All right, everybody.
everyone.
We'll see you next time.
See you
Bye. And remember, you're next. They're after you, too.
I mean,
Bye.
They are. They are.